You know, we're surrounded by ads and flyers all the time, right? But have you ever really stopped to take one apart? Today, we're going to look under the hood of this mission trip insurance flyer and see a classic persuasion formula in action. It's simple, really. First, you find a problem, then you poke at it a little to make it feel urgent, and finally, you swoop in with the perfect solution.
So, the flyer kicks things off by building a sense of community. This line right here, it's not just a statistic. It's their way of saying, hey, you're part of this huge, growing, important movement. It's a really powerful way to pull the target audience right in and make them feel seen.
And this is so important to get. This flyer isn't trying to talk to just any tourists. No, it's zeroed in on a very specific group. Missionaries, church groups, people who are part of this big trend of traveling internationally for a cause. If you understand who they're talking to, the rest of the flyer just clicks into place.
Okay, so once they've established that you're part of the group, they tap into a fear that pretty much every single person who's ever traveled has felt. It doesn't matter where you're going or why. It's that little voice in the back of your head asking, what if something goes wrong when I'm miles and miles from home?
And here's where they make their move. They use this very specific language, a major risk facing those called abroad. See what they did there? They shift from that general travel anxiety to a really concrete problem. And that phrase, called abroad, that's just brilliant. It reinforces the special, higher purpose of their audience, which makes the risk feel that much bigger.
Right, so here's the thing. It's not enough to just point out a problem. To really persuade someone, you have to make them feel it. And the flyer's next move is so simple but so effective, it just starts asking these really direct questions to make that risk feel personal, immediate, and pretty darn urgent.
First, they hit you with the big one. This question is just so blunt, it immediately plants that seed of doubt and forces you to picture a worst-case scenario. All of a sudden, that abstract fear of something bad feels very, very real.
And then they start layering on top of that fear. This next question targets something most of us are probably a little fuzzy on. I mean, a lot of people just assume their insurance from home has them covered. By asking this, the flyer creates a ton of uncertainty and basically pokes a hole in your sense of security. It makes you feel vulnerable.
And this third question, this is the emotional knockout punch. Seriously. Because now it's not even about money or paperwork anymore. Now it's about the quality of medical care. It makes you doubt the very hospitals you'd be relying on in an emergency. The risk level in your mind just shot through the roof.
Okay, so after that 1, 2, 3 punch of unsettling questions, the flyer's tone completely shifts. All that tension they just built up, it's about to be released. This simple little sentence is the bridge, leading you out of that stressful problem space and straight toward their solution.
And of course, after making you feel all that uncertainty and anxiety, they swoop in with the answer. And the answer is their product. Insurance is suddenly positioned as the solution to every single worry they just dug up. And here it is, laid out plain and simple. Outreach, travel medical insurance. Even the name sounds helpful, right? It's defined as short-term coverage for individuals and groups traveling abroad, which speaks directly to the audience and the situation they set up from the very beginning. Now, this part is really interesting because it answers the next question in your head. Okay, but why should I trust you? This is where they build credibility. By naming the company, International Medical Group, and pointing out they've been helping missionaries specifically for over a decade, they're building a ton of trust with their exact target audience. So now that they have your trust, the focus shifts to the benefits. The flyer starts laying out exactly what the security looks like, moving from the really practical stuff all the way to the ultimate emotional payoff. And look at this. It's just a perfect response. Every single one of those fears they just stoked, here's the antidote. Worried about an accident? Boom, emergency evacuation. Worried about political instability? They've got a plan for that. They even cover terrorism and the absolute worst-case scenarios you can imagine. It's a masterclass in responding to fear. For every specific anxiety, they offer a specific, tangible solution.
Then they wrap up all these practical promises with a really powerful tagline, coverage without boundaries. It's such a bold claim. It implies total, absolute protection, no matter where you go or what could possibly happen. It's designed to quiet any little doubts you might still have. But at the end of the day, this is what they're really selling. It's not a piece of paper, it's a feeling. Global peace of mind coverage is the real product here. It promises to take away all that fear and anxiety they just reminded you of so you can focus on your mission. This is the core emotional promise that makes the whole thing work. And that leaves us with a pretty interesting question to think about. When a product isn't just selling a service,
but selling an emotion, like peace of mind, how does that change how we think about what we need and the decisions we make? It's an incredibly powerful technique, and now that you see how it works, I bet you're going to start seeing it everywhere.